Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video and still on the Justin Baldoni and the Blake Lively situation. We're going to be checking this couple of videos from TikTok creators who are sharing their thoughts regarding this. And it seems to be interesting. It seems to get all the more interesting. Let's check it out.
More than likely, Blake Lively is not going to be having a very fun time in the industry. She's not going to be invited to work on many projects. And that's because no director in their right mind is going to want to work on a project where an actor has a history of coercing and trying to take over a project that they do not own in any way. And the thing is that you can say like, well, why isn't she getting the backlash of, public outcry and speaking? And that's because her husband, Ryan Reynolds, is a little bit of a protection because of the money that he has in the industry as well as other industries and tied in with other celebrities as well. The actors who played on the movie It Ends With Us cannot afford to have an opinion about the situation or an opinion that is negative on Blake Lively because of what it will do towards their future career. Look at Justin Baldoni. He owns the rights and the IP to the movie, yet he didn't even have director's final cut, and his family and friends were forced into a basement during the premiere. You can say that Justin did some bad things during this whole It Ends With Us situation, and you can say that Blake Lively did as well. And the ending issue is he may win, she may win. But at the end of the day, she has lost in the industry of respect. And again, I highly doubt anyone is going to want to work with her after this entire situation. Let me know. What do you think?
Absolutely. The take on the cast members, of course, they can't say nothing because of the power and the reputation Blake Lively and her husband holds in the industry. But again, no person, no reasonable person is going to work with her or her husband again, except maybe it's just family and friends or people like them who's got the exact same power and all. But nobody is going to work with them again because who will want to risk their project being handed over to somebody in the industry taking all the credits? Make it make sense. Let me know what you think. Do you think our career is going to revive after this or is going to suffer? I love your thoughts on this.
With all the legal drama with Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively, I finally understand why It Ends With Us in court. I watched the movie for the first time last night, and I'm probably going to do a movie review because I think it's a great example of how we can discuss domestic violence and just different ways it can look and not it being blatant in your face. But with these two, I feel like there could have been sexual chemistry, and I think that because he loves his wife so much, and she's used to, well, I mean, I think her and Ryan Reynolds did get together off of like a one movie fling. I'm sure she was probably thinking, if I wanted you, I could have you. And with him probably denying her, she was like, what? I was looking up both their pages, and for him, I even went to go follow him after looking up so much about him because, yes, he prides himself on being a feminist, but there was a moment of vulnerability where he shared, right before I think he came out with his podcast, Man Enough, his wife sharing with him, you interrupt me and you cut me off and you don't even give me the opportunity to speak, and him reflecting and saying, I pride myself on being this feminist, and yet I hurt the one woman in my life that I love the most. And for him to be able to admit that was huge. And then even on his page, he still has the link up for if you're experiencing DV, this is where you go. To me, that's just someone who is very emotionally intelligent and being painfully aware that these are real issues, not just a movie that he played a character in, versus the other one. Now, I could also be a little biased because I don't think that I've ever come across her as being helpful, more just entitled. So between the two people, I feel like it's much easier to side with someone who is very caring. I also followed his story with that, I forgot her name exactly. I know her name is Gabby. I forgot her last name though, but her TikTok is still available. I think he actually has her video pinned where she like shouted him out and he brought her to the movie premiere just for them to watch it from the basement. I don't know. That's just crazy to me. But have you guys watched the movie, or what exactly do you think is going on between them two? Because I'm definitely Justin Baldoni's team right now. I'm like, bro, you have all the evidence. Take her to court and just drag her through the dirt.
Because with the project and this movie, the It Ends With Us movie, you can see one party really cares about this project and really cares about the movie, while the other party does not care about the movie. But let's even talk about this: the fact that lots of women just automatically think that, oh, they want to believe all women when there is a rising case, or there is a case or a situation that lots of women fall under or fall into daily. Majority of the time it is women that are in this kind of relationship and all that, or experience this, and you can't even see the clearer picture that somebody is creating awareness to this, and there is somebody out there that actually does not care about this, just wants to make everything all about themselves. I mean, I really have nothing to say. Obviously, this with all the receipts and all that. I don't know what to say. He's reading source, and obviously with her and the fact that she's been um known to be a bully and be rude to people, and the fact that she entered this project or came into this project and want to take everything from him, own everything, own the project. Let me ask you this question: if you invite somebody to your house and the person stayed and overstayed, and the person is kicking you out of your house, what would you do? Would you sit down and relax and say, well, the person have got no place to stay, so it's the person's right to kick you out of your own house? Let me know what your thoughts are regarding this.
Justin Baldoni should remake It Ends With Us before they film the sequel with a completely new actress, start over from ground zero, and I'm going to tell you why. So first of all, I want to say that the future that my heart prays for is a gender-neutral future. I want women to be able to do anything they want, and I want men to be able to do anything they want, and I don't want gender to be so hard defined as girls versus boys right now. Because what I see in the media is that we are really devolving to a girls versus boys fight about the It Ends With Us case. Although I think that creatively, most people do really understand the side of Justin Baldoni, and they kind of see Blake Lively as like a very scary capitalist narcissist mean girl. And what has become very clear to me is that she was the wrong actor for this film, but they chose her because of her potential star power and pull, which was fundamentally the wrong starting place to make a film, and they paid for it every single second. The reason I say that is because I didn't realize how much piety was a core tenet of Blake Lively's personality, but she is very prude, and she prides herself on being very prude. And if you have read the book, It Starts With Us, or It Ends With Us, sorry, if you've read the book It Ends With Us, you know that it is an extremely horny source material that is like source material written. It's like got, I think, like 3 explicit sex scenes in it. And it's just a very horny book. So creatively, the actor who takes on that role needs to be very comfortable with sexuality because it's sexy source material. Blake never read it. She never read the book. She agreed to do the movie and had never read the book. So that's problem 1. Ignoring all the problems of like styling and management, and that I guess she wouldn't come to set sometimes, and she completely overran their wardrobe budget by insisting on bringing her own clothes and trying to make changes to the character based on the clothes that she wanted the character to wear. That's all weird. That's just weird. That creatively, normally you wouldn't do it. So if they redo this movie, they need to do it with a 25-year-old prestige unknown actress who is interested, and there are millions of them. There's like 100. Oh, I don't know what I was gonna say. I wanted to say how many Americans are there, and then I was gonna say there's 100 million, but I think there's like 300 million Americans, and I think about half of them want to be actors, half of them are women, and at least, I don't know, a good, like, I don't know, you know, there's 100,000 people who would do that role. Fuck, I would do that role. I would. And I would be okay improvising sex scenes because I understand that as an artist, an actor uses their body. I did a little bit of acting in college. I took a couple college level acting classes. And I'm going to tell you, an actor's body is their tool. So if you're not comfortable improvising sex scenes in a sexy, horny book, you should not be taking the role. This rant is long enough. I have to break it up.
What she said, and I agree with her 100% because Blake Lively never read the book. So, number one, she's the wrong choice to play character or play the Lily Bloom's character. There, that is where they got it all wrong. Because how can you tell me somebody who's never read the book? Obviously, so my question is, if she did not read the book, does it mean that she also did not read the script? Because I want to believe they will provide scripts for them. So does it mean that she also did not read the script? Because exactly, it's a completely sexual content or sexual movie, and the kind of character you're playing as a lead actress, if you're not comfortable with those scene or with the scene or with the movie, then why are you there in the first place? It is your job, and if you cannot do it, then let somebody else do it. It is that simple. I think where they all got it all wrong was looking for beauty and fame. If they are just casted or bring somebody who is comfortable with that particular scene or with the role, all of this wouldn't have happened in the first place. And who doesn't even have fame? But obviously they chose fame over the movie. And this is all boiling and starting from you know who, because the author of the book actually wanted Blake Lively in this. So you know where all of this all started from. And then Justin Baldoni said he wants, or he thought Blake Lively would be fit for this role. Like, who told you so? Who told you? Let me know what your thoughts are.
I haven't made a video about the Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni situation because I do like to hear both sides of a story before I try to come to any conclusions about what I think is potentially going on. And while so many different factors of the situation have absolutely gagged me, like the fact that apparently this is not the first occasion of Blake Lively having issues with people that she's having to co-star with. Like, according to other videos that I've watched and things that I've heard other people say, it's apparently like well known within the industry that Blake Lively is hard to work with. I found that very interesting. Or the fact that I found out that apparently Ryan Reynolds was ghostwriting through the writer strikes. So he was like essentially, I guess, crossing the picket lines. I don't know. Or the fact that Justin Baldoni has countersued, right? And apparently has all this evidence and all these text messages that are allegedly going to prove that Blake Lively is just flat out blatantly lying. But all that to the side, what gagged me the most is that I got on TikTok today and I came across a video that this woman made where she was claiming to have worked with Blake Lively way back in the day before Blake Lively was ever even famous. We're talking like before she ever even did Gossip Girl. Like, apparently it was Blake Lively's like first big breakout role. It's the role that like made her famous and made people start knowing who she was. But the lady did go on to say that at the time she didn't even know Blake Lively's name. Like, that's how non-famous Blake Lively was at this time, right? But she went on to make a video talking about how she worked on the same set that Blake Lively was working on for her first big breakout role, and the lady was an assistant, right? And she went on to say, like, when you're an assistant, you don't talk to talent, you don't really talk to nobody, you just fetch things for people, you follow orders, you do what you're asked, and that's it. And she said that's exactly what she was doing. And she talked about how she was at work one day and she was coming down the hallway and she saw Blake Lively and I guess some of the other actors or actresses that were in the show or the movie that they were filming, and they were also coming down the hallway but in the opposite direction towards her. So she said it was a very narrow hallway, so she kind of like leaned up against the wall so they could walk past. And she went on to say that she didn't really think anything of it because, you know, the talent, their top priority, they have to get on set and be where they need to be at the right times. So she moved out the way, she let them walk past, she moved on with her life. But then she goes on to talk about how like the higher ups, like the director and the producers and stuff like that, they pulled all of the staff members in for a meeting and they were going off on everybody essentially about professionalism and remaining professional. So she said she was sitting there listening to them talk to everybody about professionalism, and she said she was kind of confused because she couldn't remember anything that she would deem being unprofessional happening. But then she said at the end of the speech, they sent everybody out the room, but kept her behind because they wanted to talk to her more privately, right? So she stays behind so they can talk more. And they go on to tear into her about how apparently Blake Lively had allegedly went to them personally and said that she specifically made her feel uncomfortable because she felt like the assistant, the girl who was telling the story, she felt like she was acting like a fan. Like, oh, she's treating me like a fan. Like, she's acting like she's like a fan of me and it's making me uncomfortable. Mind you, this lady said that at that time, she didn't even know Blake Lively's name. Like, Blake Lively had never been in anything worth noting at that point. And that gagged the hell out of me because it's like, if that's a true story, I mean, like, it's not like a smoking gun, but in my opinion, the best indication of future behavior is past behavior. Like, unfortunately, a lot of times a leopard does not change its spots. I know we love to go on and on about how people can grow and people can change. And while that is true, the unfortunate reality when it comes to most people is that most people actually don't change. Most people continue to remain the same, right? And so if it is a true story, then that kind of shows her previously having a willingness and a capability of lying on someone really for no reason, because the lady said that she literally didn't even speak a word to Blake and Blake did not speak a word to her. So she doesn't know how Blake Lively would have gotten the idea that she was like fangirling over her because they didn't even speak. They didn't interact. They just passed each other in the hallway and that was it. So it's like, if you did it before, will you do it again? But what also gagged me is like, if that's a true story, it begs the question, like, if you're willing to do that when you weren't even famous, like before anyone even knew who you were, like this is your first time on a legitimate set filming like a legitimate project, and that's how you're already acting like you're some well-seasoned actress that's been in the game for 40 years. If that's how you're acting before you were ever famous, then how are you potentially capable of acting now that you are an actual like household name? I don't know. Like I said, all this is alleged because it is just like word of mouth. This is a story that just some random lady got on TikTok and told. But if it is true,
We've checked that story, and I mean, in case you've not seen the story or you've not even seen the video, we're gonna link it somewhere in the cards. And I mean, imagine that. Imagine hearing that, and now this is in the current. So explain to me how, I mean, they are any far apart. Yeah, people grow, people change, and all that. But I mean, you've watch, look at their pattern and look at the consistency. She's consistent with being mean and rude to reporters. See, listen, if you can be mean to reporters, and this is with camera rolling, what then? What happens behind the scene? Because I mean, you can't even hide or pretend or show like, or I don't know, but if you can be mean to interviewers or reporters with camera in front of you, I mean, let me know what you think.
No, because the importance of having receipts. Did you guys see that TikTok that I made about me getting the receipt at McDonald's when I'm not used to it? Yeah, every time they say, do you want a receipt? I always say no. But this time I said yes. And I'm glad I did because my order was all wrong and I had to walk in the store and I had my receipt. If I didn't have my receipt, I wouldn't have gotten my food. And the way they treated me, like I was lying. And then when I showed them my receipt, they were like, oh, yeah. It's not just important to have receipts like physically, but like with this whole Justin Baldoni thing, he has receipts. And I'm so glad he does because I knew there was something off about this whole lawsuit that Blake Lively did. And I felt guilty, like not believing her, like the claims that she was making. I'm like, it doesn't sound like him, like it's out of character. Not that I know him personally, but I've been following him for such a long time that I'm like, I'm shocked. And you know what sucks is that I felt guilty that I wasn't fully 100% believing everything she was saying because I want to be a woman to support other women and believe them when they're claiming sexual harassment. And now that he has all these receipts, and shame on her for claiming sexual harassment because that is such a serious accusation. And shame on the cast for siding with her. Shame on all of them for taking the importance of the message that this movie was trying to bring. Justin Baldoni had such a strong message with this movie and they effed it up. You know, it's women like her that make people not believe actual women who are going through sexual assault, sexual harassment, domestic violence. Women like her and Amber Heard. I am so glad he is clearing his name. I am glad that he's not letting people with money and power dictate his life. And like I said before, whatever is done in darkness will come to light.
Exactly. It's a good thing he's got the receipts. And that is, and again, the fact that lots of women want to feel guilty that they are supporting Justin Baldoni or taking sides with Justin Baldoni and not supporting Blake Lively is the manipulation tactics or the manipulative tactics that we see, because they want to manipulate you to tell you you should believe all women automatically when a woman cries out, and if you're not a woman, if you're a woman who don't believe another woman who is crying out, then you're not a girl's girl. Come on, come off it, because with all of this, there are real victims out there, and the movie or the essence of the movie is to send a message to tell you or create awareness that there are real people behind this, or there are real people out there, and the movie is sending a message to tell you there are real life survivors that have got no voice, and this movie is creating awareness to say we understand your struggle and we hear your voice. But the fact that all of this is playing out in this way, and people are trying to manipulate other women to believe Blake Lively, I mean, you can see the clearer picture where the manipulative tactics is coming from. Let me know what you think.
Okay, this all comes down to receipts, proof, timeline. Out of everything that Justin alleges in his countersuit, this is probably one of the most damning and what most people are talking about. Blake had texted Justin saying, I'm just in my trailer pumping, you can come run lines whenever. Okay, now I'm going to give you my opinion on if I was on Justin's side and then if I was on Blake's team. Okay, so if I was on Justin's team, I would say that this gives evidence of her comfortableness with Justin and her boundaries around his accessibility to her in vulnerable times like this. And so everything else that she alleges was not him breaching her boundaries because she made it very clear that she was comfortable, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, if I was on Blake's team, I would first ask for the date of this text that Blake sent to Justin, and then the date of the alleged offense that Blake claims he did. And I would hope that they were two different times, because what I would argue is if she sent that in the very beginning of production and filming, she may not have felt weird around him. She may not have felt any of the behavior that he allegedly exhibited later on. And so that was a text given in the very beginning of shooting. If the incident that she alleges happened later on in the filming, after she started getting these weird vibes and these incidences started happening, I believe that they had a meeting mid-filming about her comfortableness, putting down boundaries of what is acceptable and what isn't. And if him coming into her trailer after those boundaries were set, and that was a second time or a third time, then this doesn't matter. So the timing and the dates of these texts really matter, and the incidences that Blake's reporting.
Exactly. The timing matters, and receipts. We need to see receipts to back up those claims. because we actually said it before. At what point did it occur to her, or did it get to the point she became uncomfortable? So between that timeline, between when she was comfortable around him, or comfortable with him, or comfortable working with him, and the time she got uncomfortable, we need to see evidence. We need to see that timeline. It is not that hard. Let me know what you think. Do you think those are good backup claims, or good backup, or you think otherwise? Let me know your thoughts.
This message is for the women who still believe in their heart of hearts that Justin Baldoni is this narcissistic monster abuser. He's a pretender and he's lying and this, that, and third. How is you cool? Are you okay? Baby girl, he is not your ex. He's not your ex, honey. Because you coming up on TikTok talking about he's evil and he's a narcissist and he's an abuser. Sweetheart, the only thing I can think of is your ex did a doozy on you. Because if you cannot see that man's heart, you cannot see that man's character, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you, other than you need to be laying on somebody's couch. For real, for real. You really need to lay on someone's couch. Because if you cannot see what's on that man's heart, and all you're doing is projecting what your ex did to you, only thing I can tell you is he is not your ex. May you have the day you deserve.
Very true. This, I 100% agree with this. Lots of women are projecting and are saying, or seeing, or thinking Justin Baldoni is their ex. Obviously, I agree and stand with this. Let me know what your thoughts are.
The whole weight situation reminds me of a time when I was on vacation in Jamaica with my best friend, and we decided to go horseback riding. She convinced me to do it. I don't ride nothing with more than 2 legs, but I was like, hey, do it scared. Let's roll with it. And when we got to the place, the guy was like, hey, if you weigh more than 220 pounds, you can't ride the horses because it's a safety issue. You know, not trying to break the back of the horse, right? And when I see the multiple clips that people tag me in regards to how, like, whenever she's pregnant and people congratulate her on her pregnancy, she gets extremely defensive. I think Blake Lively is very, very insecure about her body. And then looking at the timing of it, when he asked the personal trainer about her weight, she is postpartum. So she had just given birth anywhere between like 2 to 4 months prior. So take into account, she's extremely insecure and sensitive about her weight. Never mind the fact that he asked a legitimate question because he's trying to keep himself safe, but because women like her have issues with their bodies and are extremely insecure, in her mind, she's being body shamed, she's being fat shamed. To a reasonable person, it's no different than the guy in Jamaica asking, hey, how much do you weigh? Because if you weigh more than 220 pounds, I can't let you ride the horse because you're going to cause injury to the horse. Makes a whole lot of sense. But to a woman who has severe insecurities with her body, you can't reason with women like that.
Absolutely agree. And the level of entitlement at play is what is not making sense.
Sis, I say this with love, but you are projecting so hard. You are projecting mad hard. Y'all really want to see the victim in her so bad. You are not Blake Lively. She is not you. She is an inherently horrible person. She's been like that since Gossip Girls. Did it ever occur that Blake Lively is just not an emotionally intelligent person? I mean, she's not even intelligent at all. The woman didn't even bother to read the book. On 2 different occasions, she was asked, what was it about the book that resonated with you? And she cannot answer a direct question. She is your stereotypical California blonde. She had her people serve Justin Baldoni's people with a lawsuit while they were being evacuated from a fire that's happening right now. Please explain to me, how is that making her a victim? Whenever she was posed a question in regards to survivors of domestic violence, her shit was tone deaf as fuck. She was promoting her alcohol brand right in the midst of a domestic violence movie. And anyone with some common sense and knows how to Google knows that alcohol and domestic violence are like this. How is she a victim? Whatever you did and whatever you had to go through in order to get to where you are projecting hard. Mad hard, just like everyone else. And I have my suspicions about her, but I'm going to keep that to myself. But if it walks like a duck, it quacks like a duck, well, you know what it is, right? Because she has gotten married on a plantation. She has this obsession with antebellum period iconography. She's endorsing a brand that looks like either slavery core sharecropper core, southern plantation core, depending on where you're from in the United States and how sensitive you are, it's giving antebellum period. Why are you trying to save this woman? When white people are saying that this woman is racist, this is where, as a black person, you need to pause. Seriously, pause. Why are y'all trying to make her into a victim? Is it because she's a woman? Because I guarantee that if you stick her in the antebellum period, she would own you. Your child would be a pet to her children. So let's stop with the projection.
I absolutely agree. The fact that she did not read the book and they thought that she was the best person for this job or for this role is what is even nuts. And to think that she is also marketing alcohol with a DV movie or in a DV. Like the correlation, it goes to tell you like exactly she's not emotionally intelligent, and not just that, she lacks self-awareness, because any person with common sense who is aware of their environment and aware of the situation or what is going on would understand or would know the dynamics of what goes and what does not go. But to see that she can't even answer the question, doesn't even know what the movie is about, and she said in one video that the movie is not about domestic violence, it's about Lily Blooms, it's about her, then you understand the person you're trying to save to be the victim. It doesn't even make sense. This is a manipulation tactics, obviously, and you can see it. But I'll love your thoughts and your contribution in the comments below, because this is giving selfish or selfishness in all shades. I'll love you to share your contribution in the comments below.